So where is everybody from? Thank you so much for coming. I know it's super, super early. Yeah, let me know down in the chat. I can read all of your chat and like comments and things like that. So if you have anything that you'd like to ask me, feel free to ask me there. And yeah, so today I will be going through all of my watch lists and I guess my process before I make an investment. So I hope you learned something new. These are things that I guess I've just learned along the years, and I've kind of developed these things and really put them into my my process. So I hope this gives you a bit more of an insight into investing and I guess different methods that you can use to invest. So first I wanted to go through perhaps like the tool that I use to invest and the brokerage platform, which is CMC Markets. CMC Markets, I think, is a really great platform because as you'll see in this video, there's quite a lot to it. There are so many different tools you can use. I definitely don't use all of the tools, but yeah, I would love to just show you that. And hello, Justin and Pablo and Lorik. Thank you so much for joining us. So it looks like most people from Sydney, Justin from Melbourne, of course. So yeah, always so good to see you guys. And, you know, thank you for joining me. I know it's super early. So let's get into the video. Let me see if I can. Oh, hey, trading with CJ, UK. That's really cool. What time is it over there? And hey, Mohammed. Okay, so can you see, I guess you can see my screen. So this is what CMC Markets looks like. I know that CJ, you guys also have CMC Markets in London. I'm not sure if many people use it in London because I know you have some really great tools over there, but I would love to know. And hey, Mohammed, good to see you. So let me know in the chat what tools you guys use for trading, like what brokerage platforms you use. I would love to know. Okay, so this is CMC Markets. And I guess here is an overview of all of the things that you can buy just in the product. So there are so many different options. I personally only really use it for buying shares. And this is the account where you can kind of just see like what you've bought, your profit and loss, etc. Wow, 11 p.m. That is like really, really late. So thank you so much for joining. And hey, Wyatt as well. Thank you for joining. So yeah, here is where you can trade and actually buy and sell shares. And this is where all the watch lists are. So I'll just take you through my watch list so you can see my process. So basically what I've done with my watch list is I kind of just went through the whole ASX and a lot of the NASDAQ and US markets. And I just started to, I guess, shortlist some companies that I personally knew, because I find that from previous experience when I was relying on stock picks from friends, it wasn't a great idea because I didn't know the companies very well at all, and I found it really boring trying to research these companies. So what I now do is I only invest in companies that I actually like and I understand. So that's what this master watch list is. It's all of the companies that I know and I personally really like and I understand. But I created this master watch list before I actually went into the financials. So this is just, I guess, basically an overview of all of the companies that I personally like. So yeah, I would recommend if you are looking to invest in individual stocks that you actually go for companies that you like, because it will make the whole process just so much easier. And hey, Celia, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, from Sydney. So great to have you, and that's really interesting to know that you're using CommSec. I've heard it's a really great tool and people really like to use it, but I would love to, I guess, show you what CMC Markets does. So I'm not sure, I haven't actually used any other brokerage platforms, so I would love to know what you guys are thinking down in the chat, and if you like CMC Markets, if you don't like it. Personally, I'm actually looking at potentially changing from CMC Markets to something else. So yeah, let me know. So yeah, so I created this master watch list, and then I actually created another watch list by actually going through every single one of these companies and really analyzing the financials of them. And from there, I created a short list of companies that I wanted to invest in. And that's what you can see in my perfect 10. So after I went through all of those companies one by one, looked at the financials, then I created this perfect 10 watch list. And you can see here that sadly, no Australian stocks. It's only really US stocks because, well, just from looking at the financials of these companies, they're really, really solid businesses. You can see that a lot of these businesses are tech businesses. They're all online. And the reason why is because, as we know, technology is huge now, and I think it's only really going to grow in the future. So a lot of these companies are really fast growth, high moving companies, and a lot of these companies don't actually have a lot of overhead. So if you are, for example, a Facebook, you don't really need to spend a lot more money trying to facilitate more advertisers coming to your platform. So if somebody wants to spend, I don't know, 100 grand on Facebook ads, the platform and the infrastructure is already set up to facilitate that purchase, which is quite different from a lot of other businesses. If somebody wants to spend 100 grand with them, well, then they'll have to create products to facilitate that. So yeah, that's why I personally have like these businesses. So hello and welcome, Nick. Good to see you. Thank you so much for joining. I know it's super, super early, but yeah, thank you for mentioning. I think they are really good businesses. Tech is really disruptive, and I personally think that there's just so much more growth to happen from these companies, even though they are growing quite a lot really quickly. So I would love to know what your thoughts are on my watch list, and if there are any companies that you personally have in this list that are on your watch list, let me know. So yeah, that's an overview of my watch list when it comes to my individual stocks and my perfect 10. I will give you a bit more of an overview of other things that I do before I start, I guess, narrowing down these choices. So another tool that I really, really like is Market Index. And this is a really great tool if you are looking for ETFs that you can buy. So you guys know that I invest most of my money into ETFs because I do like to dollar cost average. And as you can see in my watch list, there are lots of really high growth companies, but that also means that a lot of the time these companies are super popular and they're very overvalued. So instead of just keeping all of my money on the sidelines and not really taking advantage of that compound interest, I do like to invest my money in ETFs. So at least when I am waiting for a good deal to pop up, at least I have a bit of money in an index fund to compound over time. So I use this tool called Market Index, and this basically shows me all of the ETFs that are available. And this is where I research ETFs. So if you want to research ETFs, you can just go to popular pages, ASX ETFs. And by the way, this is only ASX ETFs. I'm so sorry, CJ, and our international audience that are watching. Maybe I will start looking for some tools so that we can track international ETFs as well. So yeah, this basically gives you an overview of every single ETF there is out there on the ASX, which is really, really cool because it's really easy to compare in the charts. So yeah, I hope you guys like this tool. Let me know your thoughts. If you've used this tool before, let me know in the chat. So Mohammed asked, do you also invest in Bitcoin? Because of the US elections, we might see a spike up to 15K. Okay, well, Mohammed, great question. Personally, I don't. And the reason why is because, sorry. The reason why is because I did initially start investing in cryptocurrency back in 2017, but I had no idea it was a bubble. Like, I had just started investing. I was also thankfully investing in StockSpot at the time, which was a very safe investment and did give me like annual returns of about 10%, which was great. But yeah, I just heard about crypto. It was obviously very attractive because the price was going up like crazy. So I was also investing some of my money in there. But being a new investor, I had no idea what a bubble was. I didn't know that 400% returns weren't sustainable. So I was investing money that I wasn't really prepared to lose. And then when the crash happened, I lost about $4,000, which in the grand scheme of things, it's not that much money. But to me at the time, it was a lot of money and I was really sad. So that's the reason why I don't really like investing in cryptocurrency anymore. I guess now I am a lot more, gonna drink some water. I guess now I am a lot more educated when it does come to bubbles and market crashes and things like that. I don't think I would make a mistake like that again, but I don't know, it just really turned me off the whole Bitcoin cryptocurrency thing because I know how volatile it can be. And I know how, I don't know, it's just a bit of a roller coaster. So that's why I don't really like investing in super speculative things like that. And so Laurie says she opened Self-Wealth, he or she, Self-Wealth because of Justin, haven't started investing, not sure when or how to dive in yet. Interesting. Oh, I hope this live can give you a bit more of an overview. Let me know if you have any questions about investing or anything like that. Like, no question is a stupid question, because I think, yeah, we all have to learn somewhere, and that's why we've created our channels to, I guess, be a bit more open about investing, because it can be really scary because you're investing your hard-earned money into the stock market and you're not really sure where it will go. So yeah, if you have any questions, just feel free to ask them to us. So Celia likes health stocks. There are some pretty robust ones here in Australia. That's a really good point, because I'm not in the healthcare industry, so I don't know a lot about healthcare. But if you know a lot about healthcare, or if you're just interested in it, absolutely. I think that there are some really great companies on the ASX. I personally am in more like tech, and I really like tech companies. And a lot of the Australian tech companies, they are like quite new. They are a little bit more speculative. But you'll see on my speculative watch list, I do have quite a few Australian stocks that are like tech stocks. They're a bit more speculative, so I'm not going to, you know, invest huge amounts of money into them. But yeah, I think if you find some stocks that you really like, some businesses that you think have really good potential, and they're within your circle of competence, absolutely. Like, yeah, that's a really good point. And Nick asked, if you kept that money in today, would you be up? I'm not quite sure what you mean. Maybe like if you could clarify a bit more about like what exactly you mean by kept that money in. You might be referring to, I guess, keeping my money into, instead of investing in my first home, investing in the stock market. That would be actually pretty interesting, because I haven't actually, maybe I could actually have a look at that and see what returns I could have made in the stock market versus, I guess, buying my first home, and see which one would have been a better return for me. Let me know if you guys would like to see that, and I can actually do some research into it. And trading with CJ, a favorite Australian stock, if you were to hold one. Okay, so maybe I'll go back to my speculative watch list, which is other businesses that I really like, but they didn't make it to the perfect 10 because they didn't have the really strong financial data that the perfect 10 does. So you can see there are some Aussie stocks on here. These are businesses that I like. Some of them are a bit more speculative. I think if I were to buy and hold one Australian stock, it would be JB Hi-Fi. I really like JB Hi-Fi. I think they do have some really like strong financial performance as well, and some really high growth over the last couple of years. I think that they're in a very strong position because, well, just over the years, I'm not sure if you guys have had a similar experience with JB Hi-Fi, but I remember when I was a kid and going into JB Hi-Fi, there used to be CDs and DVDs and those sorts of things. And that was really what I was going into JB Hi-Fi for, like to buy CDs back in the day. And I've really seen it like grow and like thrive into more technology and things like that. Of course, at the time, Dick Smith was around providing technology and Bing Lee. But I really have noticed that JB Hi-Fi was really able to pivot their business strategy from selling more like DVDs and CDs into selling more like technology products, and just the fact that they were really able to dominate that space when Dick Smith and of course like Bing Lee kind of weren't really able to. I just found that super interesting. So that's the reason why I really like JB Hi-Fi as a business. So yeah, I would love to know what you guys think and what kind of Australian stocks you personally really like. So Justin asked, are you planning to diversify into more property investments or grow your ETF base? Great question. So I think I really like stock market investing. Of course, that's the reason why I made this YouTube channel. But from buying my first home, I realized that property is actually a really great investment as well. And actually later today, I'm going to some home inspections to have a look at some investment properties. So I will keep you guys posted on how they go. So yeah, the answer to that question is I am looking into more property investing. Of course, I still do want to keep a lot of money in the stock market as well, because I think it's good to diversify. But I think in terms of passive income, property is a really great investment. And the great thing about property is, say you have $100,000, you can buy $500,000 worth of real estate with a 20% deposit. Whereas when you're usually buying stocks, of course, you can use leverage. You're buying, just $100,000 worth of stocks. So even if you get a really good return on investment for your stock market investing, $100,000 at even like 10, 15% annualized returns compared to $500,000 worth of 7% returns, it's a really big difference, especially if you look at it over a lifetime. And now with interest rates being so low, that's the reason why I am looking more into property investing. I think I am quite lucky as well because I do have a full-time job and I do have a pretty good credit score as well. So it is quite easy for me to get home loans. I know that if I was, like a contractor, or if I was somebody who had my own business, it might be a little bit more difficult for me to get access to mortgage loans from the bank. So that's why I'm looking at property investing. But I would love to know your thoughts in the comments. And if you guys like property or if you like more stock market investing, let me know. And hello, Ali from the UK. Oh, thank you so much for the kind words. That is so exciting. Getting into investing at 21 is really, really impressive. And I think just even being interested in this space when a lot of other young people aren't really looking into investing is a really great achievement. So I think that your future self will definitely thank you. So thank you so much for the kind words, Ali, and for watching this all the way from the UK, even though it's super, super late over there. Really appreciate it. And hello, Ryan. Good to see you. Thank you for joining. What time is it over there? Because I think you're in the US. And hello, Adam. Good to see you as well. Thank you so much for joining. Really, really appreciate it. So Celia asked, how do you think JB compares to Kogan? Really good question. I have actually thought about Kogan as well because it is a really good online Australian business, of course, selling similar products. And they did buy Dick Smith, which is amazing. I do like Kogan as a business, but I don't know. Personally, I just prefer JB Hi-Fi. I think that even though Kogan, it makes more sense because they are online. They have a lot less overheads than JB Hi-Fi do. I don't know. I think personally, I just prefer JB Hi-Fi because I definitely shop there a lot more. But I do totally understand why people like Kogan as well, because that e-commerce space, the low overheads, they are a very fast moving Australian business. So I think they are a really solid business as well. So I guess from my perspective, it's more just like a personal preference. And Justin says, JB Hi-Fi also own the good guys, so they have some good dominance in Oz. Yeah, that's a really good point. They do own the good guys. So thank you for bringing that up. JB Hi-Fi and Afterpay are going to love Christmas. I totally agree. I would love to know, actually, have you guys started buying your Christmas presents, and how is all of that going for you? Have you been saving up for buying Christmas presents, and what kind of things do you have any things that you're looking to buy? And also, do you guys actually buy Christmas presents during the sale periods? Because personally, I do like to buy most of my Christmas presents during like Black Friday sales or like any of those sales periods to save money. So yeah, I would love to know. So Celia, recommend you listening to The Property Couch. They're an Australian duo and fantastic and trusted source for property investment. Thank you so much for the tip. I'll definitely check them out. I think there's so much more to learn when it comes to property investing. It's just such an interesting space, and I have only just dipped my toes in it. So I would love to learn more, and I would love to know from you guys if you have personally invested in property and how you found it as well. Mohammed, that's the thing, at a certain point, the real estate market doesn't make any sense, especially with 9% returns on CFDs. Yeah, of course. I think that it all depends on what you personally prefer and what you like to do. I think I'm not somebody who's really comfortable yet with CFD trading or really using leverage when it comes to stock market investing. I just do really prefer to, I guess, just invest the money that I do have in the stock market. Maybe when I become a little bit more comfortable with it, I guess so. Okay, so maybe I will also go to some advanced charts so I can show you when a time that when I kind of know when to buy shares, because this is something that I have been learning a lot more about recently. I think, yeah, it's a really interesting space. So this is one of the benefits of using something like CMC Markets, I think, as a broker. So you do have a lot more research features when you are looking at stocks. So for example, Apple here, like they do give you like the Morningstar valuations and things like that. And I would also love to know if your brokers also do all of these things. I've only really used CMC Markets, so this is just what I know. But if there's anything that CMC Markets can do or doesn't do, I would love to know that as well. And you can also have a look at the Morningstar reports, which is something that I do like to look at just to get an overview of the financials. So this shows you the revenue, operating income, just like a really good like snapshot of the financials of each business. Personally, one of the biggest things that I do like to look at when I am investing in a stock is the return on invested capital here. So this basically shows you how effective a business is at using their capital to grow their revenue. So that's one of the things that I do like to look at. I do like this number to be over 10%, but you can see here that Apple's, it's over 20% for most years, which is super, super impressive. That's one of the reasons why I really do like Apple as a business. Of course, it is very overvalued at the moment, and it is a very popular stock, but it is a very solid business in my opinion. And this is where you can also have a look at the advanced charts. So I'm not sure if many other brokers do this, but this is also something I do like to look at before I am making investments. Let me know in the chat if you guys use advanced charts as well. So this is something, it's more of a technical analysis tool. It's generally not really used that much for long-term investors, but I do like to look at advanced charts when I am buying into stocks. And if they do come overvalued, I want to see that the time that I am buying at is the right time. So yeah, basically this shows you the first one that you can see up here. This is the moving average. So the kind of red and green line, that's the stock price. And this like kind of solid purple line, this is the moving average, which is basically the average, like the moving average of the share price. And it shows you kind of where it's going and if it's going up, if it's going down, and how that is going. Oh, cool. So this also shows you the MACD. So this is a really interesting chart, and I would love to know if you guys have used MACD charts as well. But basically this shows you buying pressure and selling pressure. So the red is selling pressure, the green is buying pressure. And this kind of shows you that buying pressure and selling pressure, of course, they influence the stock price. So when you can see there's a lot of selling pressure, like we can see during the crash in March, that really drove the stock price down. And you can see, you know, that it's picked back up. So the green is buying pressure again. That's really influenced the stock price going back up. So what I usually look at here when it comes to the MACD charts is looking that I kind of do want to buy at a time when there has been a lot of selling pressure. So like lots of like red bars. But then it's kind of picking up a little bit after there has been a lot of selling pressure. So this just shows me that it's kind of going into more of a buying pressure, and I'm buying at a time where has been lots of selling pressure, which has influenced the stock price, but it's picking back into buying pressure. And stochastic charts. So this is also a very interesting one. So basically the 80% that you can see up here, this indicates that a stock is oversold. No, oversold is down here. Wait, sorry, I need to think, wait, which one is it? So oversold is when too many people are selling. Yes, okay, so it basically indicates when there is overbought and oversold in the stock market. So when something is oversold, it goes down to 20, and you can see that it's kind of the same with the MACD chart. There has been lots of selling pressure here, for example. The stochastic chart is showing us that it is oversold, and so it's gone down below 20%. And when the stochastic chart is 80%, that means that it is overbought. So that's when you can see the kind of green bars here. It's indicating that it's overbought as well. So basically what I like to look at here is when it is oversold, so in this 20% region. So these are some charts that I personally really like to look at. And I know that you also, if you're not using CMC Markets, there are also other ways that you can get these charts. For example, on Yahoo Finance, you can also find these charts as well. So let's say, for example, if we look at Facebook, there are ways that you can get different types of charts with Yahoo Finance as well. So you can see here they also have the stochastic charts as well. So I would love to know in the chat if you guys use these types of advanced charts and features. Let me know. I would love to know. Okay, so you have a look at the comments. I need to catch up. Okay, so Celia, unfortunately, I made an expensive mistake in my first property investment, so I advise all to learn and grasp key concepts before investing. Yeah, that's a really good point, and so sorry to hear that you made a mistake with your first property investment. I think that, yeah, like we're not perfect, we're always going to make mistakes, and I think that as long as in a positive way, like as long as you're making mistakes, it also means that you're learning as well. So don't feel too bad about it. Like we all have made mistakes, and it's all part of the process of learning. So I'm sure that, now you know a lot more than you did back then, and you're going to make better investment decisions, because that's definitely what's happened for me as well. So Andy, hope you're keeping well. Was wondering what type of investing strategy you're pursuing, dividend growth or core satellite strategy, etc. Interesting question. So I think I'm kind of like two sort of investment strategies. So half of my portfolio is dollar cost averaging into ETFs and index funds. So then I don't really have to worry about these advanced charts all the time, because it takes up a lot of time researching these stocks and trying to buy stocks undervalued. Like, not going to lie, I don't have a lot of time to do that. So I like to invest most of my money into ETFs, so I can just kind of dollar cost average, make the same amount of investments per month, and then just get the market return. And then the other part of my portfolio is more individual stocks. So the ones that you can see here in my perfect 10, these are ideally the ones that I like to invest most of my money in, because they are very solid businesses, but I don't want to buy them when they are really overvalued. So I do have a bit of money kind of on the sidelines, waiting for a good opportunity to buy some of these stocks when they are undervalued. But of course, I still do have my dollar cost averaging investments, so I'm not trying to time the market all the time. And then I also have my speculative investments. So if another really good deal pops up, in my opinion, and if I do have a bit of money to spend on a more speculative investment, then I will invest in one of these stocks as well. So I guess, yeah, the strategy for the individual stocks is more value investing, but more value growth investments. So a lot of the stocks on my watch list are tech stocks. They're very high growth businesses. Of course, these businesses don't really become undervalued very often. So I do like to look at a few different methods when I am evaluating the price of a businesses or how much I'd like to pay for businesses. So yeah, depending on what their future earnings are, not just previous earnings. So Justin, I want some stocks for Christmas. I might have to write a note to Santa. Yes, me too. I think so. I think, yeah, that's my ideal Christmas present, some Apple stocks or something. So Mohammed, presents and I live off pasta and water, so I can invest my entire salary in real estate. I love that honesty, you know, like I don't buy a lot of things either. So most of my money goes to my investments, and I'm actually like pretty happy that way. Of course, I do like to spend money on, you know, fun things, going out and things like that. But yeah, I think investments are super exciting. I don't know, just the feeling of knowing that your money can make more money without you really having to do much is so exciting. Adam, that is the best time to buy. The best time to buy is Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Yeah, I completely agree. Like if you guys aren't buying Christmas presents during those periods, it's amazing for deals and sales. Like, yeah, highly recommend it. And also another tip with Christmas presents. So I realized that cards are really expensive. I'm not sure if they're expensive where you guys live, but I know in Australia, they can be super expensive, especially if you're buying individual cards. Sometimes they can be all the way up to $8, which I just think is so ridiculous for a simple birthday card. So I've been buying a lot of my like birthday cards and Christmas cards on Etsy, and they actually have these amazing cards that people are kind of making at home, but you can save so much money. So it's usually cost me like $1 or $2 per card, but they're really nice cards. So yeah, I hope that helps you. I know that like definitely cards, I think is just such a like why are they so expensive? It's just some cardboard and like a design, you know, it's and then you can spend a lot more money on Christmas presents and things that I think are more important than cards. So would love to know what your Christmas present saving strategies are. So Lorik, what are your top 3 index funds with low management fees? Great question, because this is one of the watch lists that I haven't really gone into yet. So this is my ETF. This is my ETF watch list. So yeah, you can see here that I do have a mix between Australian ETFs and then, of course, like international ETFs. So yeah, I don't have any ETFs in the Asian market. So that's something that I'm looking to get into, because most of my ETFs currently that I own are only really in the US stock market. Internationally, of course, but IOO is actually 70% US stock market, and of course the Australian market as well with VAS. So Asia and VAE are stocks that I'm looking at getting into as well, because I would like to track like more of the Asian market as well. And there are some businesses that I really do like in the Asian market space. So I really like Alibaba as a business. I think it's a really great business. I personally, you know, have added it to my watch list as well. And I think there are some really great like innovative tech companies that are coming out of Asia as well. So would like to track that market as well. I would love to know your thoughts on what kind of ETFs you guys have on your watch list. These are ones that I personally like because the fees are quite low, but also these ETFs, the reason why I like them is they are pretty high growth. So I know past performance doesn't indicate future performance, but yeah, they have been growing quite a lot over the past few years. Management fees are relatively low for some of them. And yeah, a lot of the companies in this ETF are companies that I actually already have on my watch list. So I feel very comfortable investing in these ETFs, knowing that a lot of these companies are tech businesses and growth businesses and businesses that I just really like. So I would love to know what ETFs you guys have on your watch list or in your portfolio as well. Best time to buy a car is at the end of the month. I did not know. Oh, I guess because they're trying to make their commissions and they'll give you a good deal on your car. That's interesting. So no such thing as advanced charts for me, only swing. There's nothing like trading with the trend, in my opinion. Other things like NEO being accused of fraud has a much bigger influence on the price. Yeah, super interesting. Yeah, I guess there is. I think also the charts can help you indicate where there has been a lot of selling pressure, maybe because of a scandal or some sort of like Maybe if there's good news in the company, you can also see that a lot of people are starting to buy as well really quickly. And it does show you pretty quickly when that selling pressure and that buying pressure comes into play. So I hope you guys, found that useful and maybe start using them in your investment practices. And Adam, that is why watching the election is key for the stock market. Yeah, super interesting. It will be really interesting to see how the election affects the stock market as well. So Nick, I remember when I first started investing, I didn't do any research or know anything. I wish I knew what I know now, but oh well. I invested in Apple at its 1-year high, bad mistake, but could be worse. It's okay, like we all make mistakes. I made mistakes with cryptocurrency, like it's all part of the investment journey. And I'm sorry that you made a mistake, but I think that it makes us better investors at the end of the day. And if we're making mistakes, then it means that we're learning and we're growing. So I think now I try to look at my mistakes in a positive way and think, okay, I made a mistake, but at least I learned something new, and it's something that I didn't know yesterday. Trump wins the stock market 5.9% up. How do you set a budget for investment spending, etc.? Interesting question, and welcome, Zach. Thank you so much for joining, really, even though it's super early. So how do I set a budget for investments and spending? Yeah, it's an interesting question. So I think before you get started with investing and being comfortable to invest, I think it's important to have an emergency fund if you don't already have an emergency fund. So that's something that I have built up just in case something happens, like I lose my job or something like that. At least I have some money to fall back on and I can access that at any time. And in terms of setting a budget for investing and spending, I have really looked at all of my expenses and I've tried to cut them down as much as possible so then I can leave a bigger portion of my income for spending on investments and investing. So I think it is important to just have a look at that and have a look at what you're spending, what you can cut out of your budget so that you can invest more. And it all really just depends on you. So it depends on how much you need to live, what your expenses are, and whatever you're comfortable with not having in your life, whatever money you're comfortable with not having in your life that you can spend on your investments is how much money you should be spending, in my opinion, because ideally you want to be spending money that you don't really need to live, because if you have to take your money out of the stock market, you don't really want to be doing that, because ideally our investment should be for the long term and we should be comfortable having money in the stock market for a really, really long time before we take it out, because if we do take it out at undesirable times, we could lose quite a bit of money. So yeah, I hope that helps you. I'm sorry there's no straight answer when it comes to how much money you should be spending on your investments, but I hope that gives you a good overview of how I personally do it. Okay, and okay, so I hope I pronounced this right. Hyosu, please let me know if I pronounced that correctly. I'm so sorry. I'm a total beginner and just opened ComSec. Isn't no good. I think ComSec is a really great platform, and it all depends on what you prefer to use. So personally, I use CMC Markets because I'm not with Commonwealth Bank. I'm not with any of the big 4 banks. So I like to use CMC Markets. And it is a very cheap brokerage site. So they don't have any international brokerage fees. So if you're investing in US stocks, there's no brokerage fees there. There is I think it's $10 brokerage fee for Australian shares. So yeah, I think in my opinion, I really like CMC Markets, but it all depends on you. If you prefer to use ComSec, then I think that's a great option as well. I think the brokerage fees might be a little bit more expensive, but if it's easier for you to use, then I guess you just need to weigh that up and see if it's worth spending a bit of extra money on something like ComSec. There are also some other brokerage platforms out there like Self-Wealth, which are really awesome. So I don't know, maybe do your research and let me know which one you prefer. So Rannan, hey, thank you so much for joining the Discord as well and for joining the live. Really appreciate it. So just joining in from Melbourne. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining. And I think I'm just going to wrap it up here. I hope that gives you a bit of an overview of my watch list, the kind of stocks that I like to buy. But let me know. I will be online for maybe another 5 minutes or so. So if you have any other questions, let me know down in the chat. And thank you so much for joining. I really, really appreciate you for joining this live chat. It really means a lot to me. I know it's such a weird time as well. And yeah, so I really appreciate you guys. So Adam, strongly agree with the emergency funds up to 12 months. The best range for investing is 20 to 40% of your income, but start low to get your debt down. Yeah, agree. I think that emergency fund is the first step. Once you have that out of the way, then you'll just have so much peace of mind knowing that you don't need to take money out of your investments in order to fund some emergency that pops up. Personally, I have my emergency fund is about 6 months of living expenses, but very basic kind of living expenses. So it all depends on how much money you'd like to save for that emergency fund. But yeah, let me know if there are any other questions and I'll answer them. Hi, Christian. Thank you for joining. So I use CMC Markets for all of my investing, and it's okay if we're a bit late. Yeah, so I personally like it because you can invest in both Australian shares and international shares all over the world. And it is quite a cheap broker. So $0 brokerage fees for international shares, and it is about $10 for Australian shares. And hello, thank you so much for joining. Really appreciate it. So if there aren't any more questions, then I guess I'll just finish up this live stream here. Thank you so much for joining. It's been great to chat with you guys. And oh, thank you so much, Nick. That is really, really sweet. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I hope I brought you some value out of these videos and really appreciate your support and your kind messages. And by the way, if you guys like NBA and watching like recaps of the basketball, definitely subscribe to Nick's channel. He has some really awesome content on there. So yeah, really, really appreciate it, Nick. Thank you so much. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. And oh, another thing. So if you guys want to continue this conversation, I also have a Discord channel. So I've left a link in my description below. So if you want to join that, then feel free to join it. It's completely free. And there are a lot of other like-minded investors. And we just kind of talk about our strategies, what we're looking to invest in. So yeah, I'll see you guys there. And thank you so much for joining. Really, really appreciate it. I'll see you guys later. Bye.